Oh my gosh, here we are again. Another supplemental episode. We're at 15.2 for the Super Nintendo, and we are covering something special. I'm pretty excited. I'm happy to have a few different people in here that you've seen before. I'm going to start calling this my SNES crew. So I got, on either side of me, I got my Wolfman over on this side.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
I got Wales over here to my, on the screen that way. And then down below us, this direction, we got Endgame Arcade.
Thanks for the invite.
And Problem Solved with Eric. Here's Problem Solved like he always does. What's up? All right, so I am pretty excited about this one. This is not going to be like the other ones. So, Wolf, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's up?
Yeah, so I don't know how it came about. I think it was at the end of our last episode. We were spitfiring some ideas, and I don't know, it kind of morphed into this particular idea, and there'll be several other ideas. I know Endgame, look out for Endgame Arcade. He's got a neat episode that's going to be coming down the pike soon. But this one in particular is our first of what I think should be a few episodes, but it is the Super Nintendo Hidden Gems episode. And just so everybody knows, our criteria for a hidden gem must follow 2 points. One, it can't be a mainstream, heavily sold, popular game, that people have heard of, because Super Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Country and Super Castlevania 4 are not really hidden gems. They're just really good games that people have heard of. And there is another criteria that's slipping my mind. So, Mr. Larson, could you please fill me in on what I'm forgetting?
It cannot be a first-party title.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's really important. So, if you're watching at home, that means it can't be a Nintendo-made game, so it can't be anything from the Donkey Kong Country series or, The Legend of Zelda or the Super Mario Brothers or Super Metroid or F-Zero, and these are games that we had talked about in prior episodes anyway, so you won't be hearing really any repeats today at all. They'll all be new games that you could say, well, holy hell, I never heard of that one. I'm going to look it up. And you'll look it up, take a look at the gameplay and say, Jesus, good God. Thank you, guys. I'm so glad that I watched this show so I could figure out some new games to play on the Super Nintendo.
That's
well
what
said,
I say
Wolf.
every episode of this.
So, and also something to remember, this is all subjective. So just because we're saying it's a hidden gem, we know there are hundreds and hundreds of games out there that people will say, this is a hidden gem, this is a hidden gem. This is just our opinion on some of the things that we consider hidden gems. It's not we're right or we're wrong or someone else is right and someone else is wrong. Well, someone's more right and someone's less right. That's not what this is. This is us just having fun, talking about games that you might not have heard of. And I am going to say one thing, because Wolf touched on it, that he said that we're not going to cover any. Yes, we are. There is something that I covered before when we talked about Super Nintendo. I'm going to cover it again because it's freaking awesome. And there is someone in this group that has played it now, and we will discuss it differently now. So, anyways, with that being said, I would say, Wolfman, are you okay with us starting this fun frolic through the fields of, well, hopefully they're not landmines. Hopefully they're gems to everybody else.
Well, come again.
Are we ready to start?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to make it easy for everybody on the screen, and I'm going to actually start off this direction, and I'm going to roll right down this way and then right back around this way. So that means, Wales, you are up, my man.
Whoa, we going clockwise, and I'm starting it off. All right.
Yeah. Well,
let's do
on
this.
my screen, how it's recording.
Okay. No, I get you. No, it's fine because, it's roulette with all the rest of us, so we don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
That's why these episodes are amazing. All right. So with my first gem, I'm going to talk about a game that was based off another gem, only a J-I-M, I should say, not G-E-M. Most people around these parts that are playing games have heard of Earthworm Jim, right? Great platformer game. Spanned different systems, different time genres, stuff like that. but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about a game that was loosely based off Earthworm Jim with the same kind of criteria, and that is called Boogerman, a pick and flick
Hell yeah.
adventure. And
Pick and
this game,
flick.
pick and flick, I love the title. It's absolutely amazing.
Another interplay.
Yeah, you gotta get the interplay. And so I mean this game was, like I said, it's a platformer mid-90s. So it's, it's a great game. You're playing this anonymous superhero. His special powers are to, as the game says, pick and flick. You fling snot, you burp, you fart, you do kind of just disgustingly, nasty stuff to your enemies. It's very juvenile.
So it's
and
an
of course,
8-year-old.
when
Got
I
it.
play, yeah, right, like me right now, I'm just an 8-year-old inside a 40-year-old body. That's why the game appealed to me at that time. It was just hilarious. I mean, you would play this game and just laugh. Like it was just the most. It was the stupidest thing at the time, but man, it was enjoyable. I loved playing this game. It had so much humor in it. The game, even the box art, it's very, oozy kind of thing. It's got, lots of green color, slime, all kinds of stuff like that. It had absolutely great visuals for the game, good sprites, the sound, and of course the sound effects had to be on point with this game, right? The sound was very good. The animation parts were really good. And it was just a great game. I actually did not play this on the Super Nintendo. I actually played it on Genesis because it came out in 94 for the Genesis. And it took a little over a year for it to come out for Super Nintendo because it was Genesis. It came out in 94. It came out for Super Nintendo in 95. And the difference between the two, it was the same game, didn't have anything really different with it. But the Super Nintendo, for being a year later, was absolutely gorgeous. Great game. It had the colors because we've gone over this before, Wolf, when we've talked about the difference between Genesis and Super Nintendo. The colors and stuff are just so much brighter on Super Nintendo instead of Genesis. So this game just popped on the screen with the green, the ooze, and the snot and everything and stuff with it. It was better on the Super Nintendo. It had better voice clips from when I finally got to play it on Super Nintendo. Like I said, I never owned the game, but playing it between the two, the voice was better. And then Super Nintendo is always known for having way better sound quality. Like the bass between the two games was night and day. Super Nintendo blew it out of the park. And it just had way better controls because it was just easier to play on a Super Nintendo controller than Genesis. So if you haven't had a chance, it is Boogerman, starts with a B, a pick and flick adventure. I highly recommend you give it a chance if you're a big fan of platformers. And if you just like crude jokes, just like I do still, it's worth a shot. I don't know if y'all have played it, but I mean, that's my opinion.
Burgerman was a great game. I never personally owned it, but I did rent it frequently from various video game rental stores at the time and always loved it. I actually enjoyed that game more than I enjoyed Earthworm Jim. Just
Agreed.
because Earthworm Jim had kind of a high difficulty level. And, I loved platforming games back then, but Earthworm Jim I would get a little frustrated at, but Boogerman was great. And I laughed more at Boogerman. So,
Of course. Fart jokes for the win.
great.
In the wind.
Yeah.
In the wind.
It's funny, I was just playing this today. Wales had told me some of the games that he wanted to talk about, and I popped that in. I have a Steam Deck, and it's got a card on there that's got all sorts of builds, and Super Nintendo's on there, and it's got like every Japan and Europe and North American release. So I played Boogerman, and I started laughing because I forgot. It's been a long time since I played. The first level's called Flatulence Swamp.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's got, and you have a meter. You don't have unlimited boogers. Like you see a nose in the upper left-hand screen, and it's got a trail of snot. And every time you flick a booger, the snot gets shorter and shorter. It was a classic, man. I was loving it. I was laughing and having a ball.
Another neat thing about the game is that, you know, how most games when you play, you have a life bar and stuff. This one didn't have a life bar in it. It was just his cape. The color of the cape determined what kind of health you had. So you either had your green cape, so you're ready to fling and do everything you want to do. Then it became yellow. You started taking some damage, and then of course red as you were on your last leg. So I thought that was also pretty neat to not have a visual, you know, static life bar. It was, you had to kind of pay attention to the game and your character to see, you know, how much more you could dish out and take, literally.
Gross. Gross.
It was a great game.
I, like Eric, never owned it, but I did play it. And we were just talking about another friend of mine earlier when we were talking before we started recording. And that friend actually had Booger Man, and I do remember playing it, and it was freaking hilarious. But yes, I agree with you. Juvenile.
I never played Booger Man. Played Earthworm Jim. I thought that was the weirdest game I ever played. So I guess I'm gonna have to check it out.
Nah.
Oh yeah, definitely check out Booger Man.
Yeah,
you will
check
not
out
be
Booger
disappointed.
Boy,
yes, you have it.
Did we
Booger
pick
Man's on the list.
a classic for you?
What you do is you get your big bowl of Lucky Charms, put yourself in that right mindset, boot up Booger Man, start playing.
That's something I never thought I would hear on this episode is boot up Booger Man. Okay. All right. We're doing it.
Boot the boog.
Yep.
Anyone else have anything on that game?
It's a great one, man.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, we're going to swing around then to Eric.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
next.
next. Yep.
All right.
See, it's
So
it's
this-
fun when you don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So, so my first game is going to be a weird one, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, it's not for everyone. But if you enjoy this, I can't even say if you enjoy this type of game because I think it's like a one-of-a-kind game. But this game is really weird. It's a, if I had to describe it to someone, I would say it's a combination of original Warcraft and Lemmings, which people are gonna be like, "What the," but
That's the face I'm giving.
it's
Yeah.
a side-scrolling RTS, which stands for real-time strategy game. Came out on the Super Nintendo, and it's called King Arthur's World. I loved this game. I owned this game. I think I got it from a grandparent or something that knew I was into King Arthur when I was a kid. Had no idea what this game was, so she just picked it up. I had never heard of it and started playing it, and it's a great game. It has a great soundtrack. One of the levels has "Flight of the Valkyries" as the song in it.
Nice.
And you're King Arthur, and you have your little tent, and you spawn these knights and you spawn archers, and then you just try to make it to the end of the level. You're fighting knights at first, and then you end up going underground and fighting slimes and stuff.
Boogers.
And it's really weird. And you basically have to protect King Arthur and keep him alive. But it's a strategy game, but you don't directly control any of your units. They kind of just do their own thing. Knights are melee fighters, archers are ranged. You get catapults. You can do all kinds of really neat stuff. If you've never played this game, I urge you to check it out. It's a neat. It's like a puzzle game. You got to solve these weird puzzles and weird levels and stuff. If you've ever played Lemmings, it's kind of the same idea. Really tiny characters like that just kind of like march along. But it's a great game. I want to go back and play it again, and I think I'm going to. Super fun game. I always put a little feather in my cap, a proverbial feather in my cap when I mention a game that Wolf doesn't have. So he informed me he doesn't have this game. So that's a good one. That means it's definitely a hidden gem. But like I said, it's not for everyone. People are gonna take one look at it, and it's like another game that Dan mentioned in a previous episode. We didn't have anything. We had magazines, and we didn't have the internet, and we had the back of boxes. And there's a game he loves. If you look at the back of the box, you might pass up the game. If you look at the back of the box of this game, or if you look at the cover art, you're like, this doesn't look like King Arthur. So I'm not gonna play this, but it's a great game.
So Eric, when you said it's like Warcraft, the different units have like archers and like sword play and different things, like kind of like a paper rock scissors, like, hey, these guys beat these guys. Is that kind of what you're talking?
It's similar, yeah. So you have like you start out at one end of the level, you've got just King Arthur, and King Arthur's got like a tent, looks like a circus tent or a war tent or whatever. And then that tent is where all of your units spawn from. And you can spawn, you see a bunch of guys in front and you're like, okay, these are like melee guys. I'm going to spawn a group of 5 knights. And those 5 knights will march towards them. When they encounter them, they'll start beating them with their swords and stuff, and basically until they die. And you get a set number of units per level. So you might only get 20 knights for this level and 30 archers. So then you have to figure out how you're going to solve this level's puzzle with only those units.
That's cool.
And yeah, and then there are things that will like, they can spawn behind you, and those things are just there to like, eat Arthur. So you have to sometimes you have to like raise him up and put him on a platform or something, or you have to like hide him in some sort of thing, or build a structure around him so he won't get eaten. He's really strong too. He can fight off things, but he's not like invincible. So you have to protect him at the same time. So you might be off, at the very end of a level trying to solve the last puzzle, then all of a sudden, it'll say you lose, and you're like, what the hell? And it'll zoom back over to where Arthur was, and it'll show that like, a big goblin came up and just swallowed him, and you're like, oh shit. So anyway, it's
cool.
a great game.
Sounds kind of ahead of its time.
I think so. Definitely, and the difficulty level was a little high, but not ridiculous. But yeah, it's a good game. I urge everyone to check it out if they like the whole. So it's not like an side-scrolling fighter that's going to be all action or anything like that, but it's definitely a good game.
I like the puzzle games, so I'm definitely going to check it out. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
I checked it out today, Eric, and you said that the game is not for everyone, and you're right. It's definitely not for me. That's for damn sure. But I could attest to everything that you're saying. It is. I thought it was very cool, and I think if you like RTS games, like you said, and there's some strategy and some side-scrolling elements, and I could see what you're saying with puzzle elements too. It's just, maybe it was that first level watching those guys from right to left plod into the left side of the screen. I'm like, whoa, okay. I think I'm going to give it another chance. I don't think I gave it a fair chance, but for what I played today, I thought it was poopy caca.
No, that's what the goblin was doing after it ate Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm sure
right.
passing that crown was not pleasurable.
No.
Or
Now,
maybe it
Wolf,
was.
do you like Lemmings? Do you like the Lemmings games?
You know what? And now that you say that, not really. I think it's okay.
See, me neither.
And I think it's just like Eric said. I think if you like RTS games, you're going to love it, right? And I like more platforming games where I control the character. So I think it's just a, subjective opinion. Like,
for sure,
maybe these aren't my type of games. So
the whole thing, what I will say, and what I found is a pretty good measure for this is, if you liked the Lemmings games, this is just like Lemmings if Lemmings could fight. So it's like that. If you hate the Lemmings games, you're probably not going to like this game.
Yeah. And Eric, that's why I asked Wolf, because I'm like, it sounds like he doesn't like Lemmings games, so therefore probably not going to like this.
Yeah. But Eric's right on the money, man. This is, without a doubt, is a hidden gem because it's going to appeal to a certain audience. I would dare to say this is more like niche. It fits a certain type of gamer. It's got a little bit of like Sim Earth, like, type of elements, Lemmings. It's got that cool kind of like medieval, fantasy type of theme to it. It had great sound and stuff, and I could see how this could be a lot of fun for somebody that likes, even something that's similar to what all the little subgenres that Eric smashed into this game, but it's cool. It's fun. You know, I just, like I said, maybe I just need to give it another chance.
Cool.
Well,
Thanks.
and the whole definition of hidden gem, it's not mainstream. Everybody
Right.
isn't drawn to it, you know.
Right.
Hidden gems are sometimes a certain sect of the audience really gets into it, but then the other sect, who cares? You know, like I like JRPGs. Final Fantasy, a lot of people like, but Suikoden, Wild Arms, a lot of people don't like. I love those games, you know.
Yep, definitely.
Great choice though.
Thanks, Eric.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Awesome
really
choice.
good choice. All right, Endgame. You're up, my friend.
All right. Well, if you didn't like Eric's choice, I think you're gonna like this choice. And a lot of times, hidden gems, you know, you grew up with them. Maybe you had all summer to play them, and that's why you like them, whereas other people don't like them. This game, I actually never grew up with. I actually did. You know, I have a YouTube channel. Went through all my favorites, my Super Nintendo wheel, and I'm just like, all right, let's put this favorite, Contra, you know, Super Metroid. Ooh, what's this game here? I'm like, it looks really good. I'm gonna add it to my favorites and play it later. And the game is called Sparkster. Ever hear that one, Wolf?
Yeah. Have I heard of it? It's right here. I have it. I love it.
Excellent. Yeah,
No.
so this is a platformer game, which Wolf
Konami.
just mentioned that he really likes. What was that, Dan?
Konami.
Yeah, it's Konami.
Yes.
Man.
I know that game, but I had no idea it was called Sparkster.
Dude.
So, Eric, you might know it from the Sega Genesis version. It's called like Rocket Knight, I think, or something like that.
That's the one I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep. There's a couple. I think those came out first, the Sega Genesis ones, and then the Super Nintendo one came out. And like you guys talked earlier, Wales, much more colorful, bright, vibrant,
Yep,
and
better sound controls.
yeah. And again, I never played this back in the day. Never knew about it until I went through my wheel, and I'm like, what's this game? And I was drawn to it because of the large character sprites, the animation, the color, the platforming. But one thing, because Eric, like the Sega Genesis, right? Sega's known as Sonic Fast. Well, this game
Right.
has a really fast element to it. It has your
Yeah.
normal platforming element. You're jumping, you're climbing, you're attacking with your sword. But then you have this rocket on your back, and you can like boost through the levels horizontally or vertically. You can actually explore, find secrets. Really cool. Really cool. And I like Sonic, but I never was a massive Sonic fan. I was more Mario. Platforming, I want to find my secrets. I want to explore the level at my own pace. But Sonic, I'm just going too fast, getting hit all the time, rings going everywhere. This game is the best of both worlds. You're going through it like Mario Brothers. You're exploring it at your own pace, but then you're like, okay, I need to go fast here, or I need to go find this thing way high above me. Now I'm going fast on my own. Really cool. So, Wolf, have you played it, or did you just buy the copy?
No, a matter of fact, I played it today because I know you had talked about, you know, that this one wanted to be one of your picks for hidden gems, and I popped it in right here, played probably 2 levels, I think, and it is just a ball. I totally forgot how much fun this game was, and you got like I that whole element, like you said, that boost element just is so cool. And you know, it's Konami, so you know what you're gonna get, like from a Konami game during the Super Nintendo. You're gonna get exactly what you said, Endgame. Big sprites, really colorful, fun graphics, parallax scrolling. You know, you're gonna get that speed, secrets, a fun, likable, animated character, you know, that you're controlling. And did he have like a sidekick or something, or am I thinking of another game? This thing that you threw?
No, he has his tail. He can like hang off a thing.
He was
with his tail
hanging,
and
yeah,
stuff
he
like
was
that.
hanging from tree to tree.
You're right. You can
Yeah.
use the rocket to like ricochet, like where you go like bounce off walls to get higher up. Whereas if you just use your vertical blast, you can't get quite as high. So there's some of that stuff. But I don't think he has. Maybe later in the game.
No,
I haven't beaten it
he's
yet.
not. I'm thinking of another game that I played today called Artie Lightfoot. And
Oh, okay.
it's another kind of game, hidden gem type of game. But like you were saying, it's a side-scrolling type of platformer. But in that game, you're throwing like this jelly thing, and it flies out and then comes back to him. But Sparkster, you're right. He like hang from the trees and stuff, and just so cool. It was a lot of fun. A lot of
What?
fun.
He's some kind of animal. He's like a possum
Yes.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then you're fighting like pigs, right?
Yeah.
They're like giant
Yep.
armored
Yeah.
pigs.
And stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yep.
Yeah. No, is this the same game as Rocket Knight, just with a different title?
No,
Or
I
is it
think
like a sequel or
a
something?
spiritual successor type of a thing. I don't
Yeah.
think it's necessarily like part 2. Maybe it is.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know, because I think there was 2 games on the Sega Genesis.
Okay.
But like I said, I never heard of this game until I made that video, and a couple people I made a comment on it. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna add it to my favorite. And I think a couple people in the comments like, oh, that game's awesome. Check it out. And that's the great thing about, hidden gems is even if you didn't know it from back in the day, you can try it out now. Listen to Retro Law, jot these down, and try them out.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
why this show is so great.
Dude, I'm gonna check it out because I love the Rocket Knight games. But if I could play, something that was one of those with just, better sound and looks better, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, and it has a good first impression too, because there's like a water level below you and your reflections down in the water, where you're like, man, this looks really nice. Gets you in the mood. And again, it has the scrolling hills like a Sonic game, but you're exploring it at your pace, and I really enjoyed that about it.
It doesn't sound like it's going to
really
get me
cool
in the
boss
right
fights.
mood.
Yeah.
You have to
Like-
be in that opossum pig fighting mood.
Yeah,
With
right.
a sword
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a rocket on his back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pocket
like you guys
rockets,
were
got
saying,
it.
back then we didn't have other people to review things or watch videos or gameplay. It was the box art, it was the back. The best we had was word of mouth. So like
Mhm.
the beautiful thing about emulation and some of these other episodes where I get to get other games and stuff that I do have access to now is because just that I have access to them. I may be able to play the games that I liked back when I was young and stuff, but then my friends would have these other games like the Boogermans, the Starleys, the King Arthurs and stuff. And it's like, I didn't even get a chance to play them because, I was told you only get one game, or we don't,
Mhm.
you have to save your allowance. So you had to pick and choose. Whereas now you have access to all of them. So now you can sit there and you can play these other games that you may have not had a chance to, or you saw your other friend's house. But like Larson said, one weekend we'd be at a friend's house. So I could play the game then, get my fill of it, and then be done because I didn't have to own it. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, I want to play that game again. I'll just go back over to Jeremy's house. We'll play that game.
Yep.
Or if they want to come over to my house to play this game. So it's like your groups of friends like pick and chose what games you wanted to get because you couldn't just Pokemon and have every SNES game at your disposal, whereas now we have that option. So episodes like this and everything else of law, you just write it down on your list.
Yep,
And
just
then when you
take
get
notes.
a chance, you can just go and try it out. And then you can form your own opinion, which is a beautiful thing. So appreciate you guys for doing this. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and Wales, you bring up thought to my head is like, sure, a lot of us, we still own a lot of the new games and a variety of games, but a lot of gamers, they all get the same game, right? You mentioned your one friend had Boogerman, another friend might have had something else. You go over to their place, you play that. Well, now everybody's got Call of Duty, so that's what they all play all the time. They're not playing, the Spider-Man 2 or some of these other, games as much as, back then. It's like, well, everybody didn't need Boogerman. Just one of you guys needed it. Everybody didn't need to have Mario Kart. Just one of you,
And then you sit there and trade. I
False.
want to play this. Well, then I'll trade.
False. Everybody needed Mario Kart.
That's true. That's true.
Go ahead, keep going.
That is fact. But yeah, you can
No,
do that.
that
You
was
could
just-
trade. Yeah.
That was just a cool. When you were talking about that, I'm like, yeah, now everybody plays Grand Theft Auto together or Call of Duty together. You don't have the Boogermans and stuff like that you can trade back and forth. I mean, heck,
Exactly.
Microsoft with the Xbox One, they wanted to make it so you couldn't trade games anymore.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
about that money, man.
Yep.
It's,
Shame.
All right.
That's
Good, great
what's so
choice.
nostalgic.
Yep.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. I'm sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
That is why one of the reasons why I love the Super Nintendo, for the very reason you said, Endgame. The games were expensive, so you had some games at your house that you played over and over again, and when you got tired, you went to Bobby down the road who had 4 or 5 or 6 different games that you could trade and then play and get exposed to. There was 7, there's hundreds and hundreds of games on the system. So you're not going to have played or have heard of everything, because Wales brings up a great point. A lot of it was word of mouth, or it was Nintendo Power or EGM
Game
magazine.
Pro, EGM.
And you saw a picture a still shot in a magazine, and you had to like gauge, wow, is this my type of game? You're looking at that little box. You had to, and that's why it was fun to trade, because now you could play it or rent it, right?
Yeah.
Now you could decide yourself if you like it.
That's why I would get kicked out of Funko Land, because I'd just stay there all day, because you could try before you buy, you know, and do that stuff. But I mean, it's we had our own version of GameFly before there was GameFly. You had your friends and you swapped out and traded. So it was an excuse to go over to your friend's house and maybe even spend the night. Oh, we just got 2 more levels. Let me spend the night. Okay, well then.
Right. Yeah.
So
how much
stuff.
Mountain Dew?
With your renting, looking at the box art. I mean, I'm sure we've all done this where this game looks cool. I'm renting it, right? Get home, play it. This game's trash. I'm gonna
horrible.
bring it back and swap it quick.
Clay Fighter.
In the first 2 hours, I guess.
Come
on,
on,
man, don't hate on Clay Fighter.
Dude, you go to Hollywood Video or whatever, Best Buy. You look at the cases. You're like, oh man, Clay Fighter, this looks dope. You get it home, you're like, this plays like trash. Like this is hot garbage. Like, who decided to put this out? Oh wait, I rented it, so it makes sense.
It wasn't such trash. The heck was it? Clay Fighter 2 1/3, the sequel or whatever it was.
I didn't say that one. I said the original Clay Fighter, because
I know.
Man, so bad.
Yep.
Wolfman, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, it's my turn.
Oh yeah, you're up next.
So I was just gonna say real quick, based on what Endgame said, when you missed, that hurt. Okay, like when you took a chance and gave.
Oh yeah.
And you saw the artwork and you took it home and the game sucked. You wanted to like pound your fist through the wall.
Ninja Combat.
So yeah, the misses hurt bad when we were growing.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES. Looking at you.
Yeah.
Street Combat for the SNES.
Street Combat. All right, go
Fester's
ahead.
Quest.
Fester's
Got
Quest.
So this is definitely, I would think, is a hidden gem, and it's got a lot of different genres that smashed into this. I don't know if anybody's heard of this. I'll flash it up here.
Oh, please flash.
Okay.
Oh,
Legend.
no. PG.
Is it?
Not that flash, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, PG
Look you up.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
It's called Legend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got a plain ass title. You would never have thought anything about this if you went to a game to rent. You would just pass right over it. It's like Legend. Well, that's not really creative. The box art like sucked. But if you played it, you went, whoa, wait a second. Okay, this is like Golden Axe. It was a side-scrolling beat 'em up hack and slash, and it combined those three in a fantasy middle-age type of genre. And it kind of reminds me a lot of what Eric said with his pick, the King Arthur game. It was like right from that same time period. There was these big bruisers, knights and shields and armor. It really reminded me of Golden Axe, and I loved it. It had the nice sprites and graphics and sound, but it followed the traditional beat 'em up mold, right? So some of the gameplay got a little repetitive, from the second to the fourth level, and you're like, wait a minute, I beat these guys up on level 1. It's just they got different, colored sprites. But, if you could get by a little bit of the repetitiveness, the game was awesome. It was so much fun. The sound was bombastic. It had that like kind of legendary Italian opera, when you're fighting and clashing swords. It's really a neat game, and we all have the opportunity to try this with our machines. Okay, so I challenge everybody to check this out. Take you 10-15 minutes. You'll know right away if you like it or not. And if you like any three of those genres that I said, I think you'll find this to be an extremely enjoyable game. You could beat it probably in an hour and 15 minutes, an hour, if you're really good. But it's made by a company I never heard of called Seika, and it came out in 1994.
That was going to be my question, was who published it. Yeah. I heard of them.
Yeah.
So I have a story about this particular game.
Oh,
I
all
didn't.
right.
I didn't know what game you were. I mean, I saw the cartridge. I had no idea it was this. It was this game. But then I just looked it up and I saw the screenshots. I was like, okay, it's this game. Anyway, so the story of this game, short story. Uh, I can't remember. I was coming back from somewhere. I was away from home, and my father said, "Hey, I rented you a video game." When I got home, and I knew he was going to rent me a game because he had talked to me before, and he asked what game I wanted. He was going to go to the video store. He's going to pick up a movie or something. He asked if I wanted him to rent a game, and I asked him to rent a different game called Knights of the Round, which is a different game.
Oh, right.
I asked him to pick up that game. He came back with Legend, and I took one look at that cart and was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
This is
right.
gonna be garbage.
Yeah,
I popped that in and I had so much fun playing that game.
yeah,
That was a great game.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my little story about that game. But yeah, I second that. It's a good game.
So
Sweet.
there's one thing that I know for sure. Do not doubt the Wolfman and his side scroller beat 'em up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody
Exactly,
out there
that's-
looking at this, when he brings it up, do yourself a favor and at least check it out.
Yeah.
At
Thanks,
least
Sam.
check it out.
Yeah, you
Straight
can,
up.
his word, take it to the bank. The man has never steered me or anyone else here. And even though there's hopefully those of you that are watching and stuff, like he's not steered you wrong on a beat 'em up. The man is a beat 'em up encyclopedia. So,
Mm.
like Larson said, just give it a chance, give it a whirl. Because I'm going to do the same. I've never heard of it because looking
Yep.
at that art, it's just Legend in red on a black background. How
terrible.
bland can you be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
bad.
not even a character or a weapon or nothing.
It's sitting on the corner and it's doing the Ace Ventura thing. Put me in, coach. Just give me a chance. And it's just sitting there like screaming at you on the
There's a
shelf.
lot riding on it, but it's all psychological.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Legends like one of those catchy words. Like what? Not that long ago, all the games added revelations at the end of it.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Revelations,
Ultra.
Resident Evil
That's
Revelations.
why I laugh when Wolf was
What
like,
does that
he did
mean?
this and it was legendary. I was like, I see what you did there. Throw that in.
Yeah.
Eric, that's a great story.
Yeah.
When you were telling it, I thought you were going to say you wanted the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and he came back with that. But
The
still,
legend.
great story either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You forgot
You
the last
had a
half.
good time with it.
Knights of the Round is amazing. That should be for another episode. That game, if you like beat 'em ups, that game is awesome.
On
It's great, but
MAME.
it's not a hidden gem though.
Yeah,
No, it is not.
It's a big
No,
one on
no.
MAME. You guys will
MAME,
enjoy that
yeah.
one. Knights of the Round
Yeah.
is
Yes.
great, and it had the port
Yep.
over to SCS. Remember, I told you too. A lot of those beat 'em ups died off when the
Arcades
shift,
died
and the
off,
arcades
yep.
started dying because Knights of the
Yep.
Round. Most of the time people would buy that if you played it out, right? You play it first, you go, "Oh man, this is awesome," and you take it home. But, anyways, yeah, good choice.
Yeah,
So
all your
Legend?
multiplayer memes. Yeah.
So Legend, is it single player or 2-player?
No, I don't know if it's see, I'm not gonna say because I was so wrong on the last episode with my
About
Final Fight guy.
No.
I felt like Eric was going to admonish me.
Ooh. I missed
chasing me
that
into
part, but
outer
I still
space.
heard.
So I'm
Yeah.
not saying shit about if it's first or second 2-player. So you're on your own with that.
All
Yeah,
right.
I
Single
heard that was
player,
so egregious.
2
Woo.
players a bonus.
I know.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2 player. All right, so it's my turn now, right? So
Yes.
I'm gonna
Best
hit
for
this-
last. Let's make it happen.
Oh man, no, not best. So actually, so this is the one I'm gonna start it off right now. This is the one I was talking about. I'm gonna start it off with. I've already talked about this game in the past. Gave it a little quick because this is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, and it is definitely a hidden gem. And I'm gonna touch on it. So again, ActRaiser. You guys keep saying, Dantron, you keep talking about ActRaiser. Look, I'm gonna keep talking about ActRaiser until you frickin' play this game. Right?
Mm.
Got it there. And you know what? I'm also going to talk about it again because, okay, first off, ActRaiser 2. So this one, not as good. I would not consider this a hidden gem. It is freaking hard as balls, and all the unique stuff that was in here that made it fun with the different balance of things, they removed most of that. This game,
Aw.
not hidden gem. Not
Yeah.
as awesome. The only reason I own it is because ActRaiser was so good that I had to own both of them. Like, this game is that good that I had to have this one too. That just sits on the side just because it says ActRaiser 2. The music was, of course, fantastic again in this one. That's the best part about this game. All right, so ActRaiser again. All right, so
Back where you belong.
Oh, I'm like, I gotta breathe for a second. So, ActRaiser, man. Okay, so it has like an overworld, and you're moving your sky palace. You're a god. You move it around. You try and free the people in these different regions. You help them set up their towns. They're growing with the people. They're talking to you. They're giving you things that they've found. They're appreciating what you're doing for them. You're working hard to help them grow as a community, and then you clear it so that you clear an area for them so that they can thrive, and you move to the next area. And you're doing this trying to clear the world of this basically like big kind of like a demon pestilence that's there. It's just constant. It's everywhere. And so you're trying to
a blight, basically.
Yeah, and you're going through there. This game, again, I've said it. Don't just take my word for it. I want somebody else who actually listened to me last time I talked about it, that hadn't tried it and tried it. Eric, what did you think about this game when you put it in?
So last time you talked about it, you definitely convinced me. I had seen, this was one of those titles that I had seen the cover art. I looked at the back and immediately went on to a different game. But, older, more mature. So went back and played it, and it's fantastic. Like, I think I'm gonna finish this game. And a lot of games I'll play an hour or two and then I'll put it down, say I'm gonna finish it and never go back to it. This game I keep going back to, and it's right up my alley. It's the type of game I really like. It's got I love the two different modes, the overworld mode. I love the side-scrolling mode. I love the town establishment stuff. I didn't really understand what to do, but that's okay, because that's kind of the difference of these old school games and new games. There's always a tutorial. They always walk you through exactly what you're supposed to do. It's always like, oh, go find this thing, and you go and search for it, and it's giant blinking green, and it's got an arrow and a hand pointing to it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess I'm supposed to touch that thing. But this is like kind of, you're in a place, you got a little advisor that kind of helps you a little bit. But other than that, you're kind of just free to figure things out. And it's a great game. It's not a game, if you've never played it, it's not a game that you're just going to zip through. It's a game that you're going to have to do a little bit of thinking. And the music is fantastic.
Yes.
It's a great game. I love the Mode 7 overworld. I love, the zooming in and out. I love moving around the Sky Palace and stuff. And yeah, it's just a fantastic game. Really
the first time you got to figure out, it's like, what am I supposed to do here? And you figure out that you're supposed to lightning this random rock and you're like, oh, if I would have just listened to the text when the dude was talking about it, this is a rock he was talking. I'm an idiot, right? So that's what this game is like. There's not a whole lot of text, but you want to pay attention to the text, and the text is so good that it does build your feelings of wanting to help the people because of how the communication is between you and the people. They're very respectful of you. They appreciate everything that you're doing for them, and it just makes you want to do more stuff for them. And so the text really doesn't bother you as much. But yeah, I love it. How about you, Endgame? I know you like that game.
Absolutely. I owned both of them growing up. These are two of my favorite games on Super Nintendo. And to me, this is one of the best, if not the best, hidden gem, because it should be a AAA game that everybody plays and knows. It really should be, because it was innovative. It had a really fun gameplay loop. But I think the sim portion is what threw people off. They just wanted to do the side-scrolling levels, which the side-scrolling levels were awesome. And like, you're in that first area, Fillmore. It's like grassy, your typical platforming levels. But then when you get to the second stage, the blood pool, you're just like, I have not seen this in a game before. And like, you're like Eric and Dan said, you're like this godlike figure, the master, and you're hovering above everybody else. And they're praying to you, worshiping, like, hey, we need crops. This blood pool's killing all of our crops. So you got to rain down water and help them with their crops. Oh, but now these monsters are coming to try to stop you. So you got to help protect them. And then they finally do work for you, and they uncover where the boss or the blight that's tarnishing this land is. So then you have to go into the level, and you have to help them back in return. They help you find it. Now you help them back and slay that monster and slay that boss. And that clears up the pool and stuff. It's just such a great gameplay loop. Like we talked about with King Arthur, this game way ahead of its time. And to Dan's point about the sequel, I really like the sequel. because like the graphics are really good, the gameplay's good, like you can fly. There's more to it for the platforming levels, but you lose so much by taking away the sim mode. I agree with him. I was so disappointed. I bought it day one, 60, 70, whatever it cost back then, and I was so excited. And I'm like, level 3, where's the sim mode at? Level 4, where's the sim mode at? This is awesome, but where is it? So yeah, completely agree with you guys. Amazing game. And for me, I didn't know you were going to bring it up. Like when we first were hashing out our games list, I was going to mention it. I'm like, the ultimate hidden gem is ActRaiser, but that was already talked about in another episode. So I'll move on to Sparkster or whatever.
It's so
I'm
good.
glad you brought that up.
It's so good it had to be brought up. Like I could not do
100%.
a hidden gems episode, like the first hidden gems episode for this, without actually talking about ActRaiser. And we've already talked about it enough, but I also want to point out, look who the actual developer was.
Enix.
Yeah.
So we talk about Super Nintendo, we talk about a lot of Square titles that were top tier, and now we got an Enix title that I consider a top tier title as well. So, and as we know,
Saga,
how that
man,
worked.
was also Enix.
Oh, yeah. See?
Yep.
Now, I just want to add something. I'm sorry I had to leave. I have a 48-year-old bladder and nature was calling. So ran up, took care of business, grabbed a beer.
Nice.
Mexican stout. It's nice. But anyway, I own both games too, Endgame and, Dantron. And I love each of them for different reasons. And it's so funny to hear Endgame talk about this and how he loved, same with Dantron, how he loved the RTS mode. I loved ActRaiser. To this day, it's probably one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. It blew me out of the water. Orchestral. I mean, you could hear all of the instruments. It almost brings a chill down your spine when you're playing. I mean, it's that good. But for all the reasons that you guys said that you love the game, is the reasons why I didn't like the game, right? So the RTS mode, I could care less about that. I wanted to get in and do the hack and slash side scrolling. That was my favorite part of the game, which is probably one of the reasons why I like part 2 even better, because they took out the RTS. I was like, yes. And, it's like a fine wine. It is aged well over time. And all of my like idiosyncrasies with RTS games, as I've gotten older, I've actually enjoyed them quite a bit more. And I like the puzzle elements and, and I'm talking about from like a kid perspective. I just didn't like that. And then through the years, I started to appreciate those type of games more. And now I like ActRaiser even more because I didn't really understand what to do. I never read the instruction manual. I got in and I was like, what is all this stuff? Like you're moving in like squares and I didn't get it. I just wanted to like kill stuff. But if you understand that part, it makes for a more rich gaming experience with ActRaiser and you really like and appreciate its awesomeness even more. It's a great pick. I think it is one of the better hidden gems for Super Nintendo without a doubt. And it's just an awesome pick, man.
Thank you. Wales,
For sure.
It's your turn now, Brady.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you just said that last piece you did, Wolf, because that is a perfect segue into my second hidden gem. In my youth, my next game is going to be a shmup, and I growing up loathed shmups. I thought they were fucking crooks and cheats because they stole your money and you got to like wham bam done, thank you ma'am kind of thing and stuff. Like I learned quick. Too. Right. Yeah. But see, the thing is, this $5 that I paid or whatever to play these games were gone faster. And then you get itchies and stuff, and it's just not good. But it's I learned very quickly to steer away from shmups because going to the mall, the tilts, the arcades, whatever you wanted to call them and stuff. I would get $5, And it's like that had to last me the whole time my mom was shopping or whatever and stuff. And so I went to go play, your 1941s, your 42s, those type of arcade games, there are bullet hells and one hit kills you, you're dead, and that's it. I mean, $5 done. That'd be done for 8-year-old me, and it would just be the most unenjoyable experience ever. And I just felt cheated and stuff. So I steered away from shmups. So now as I've gotten older and matured and I have access and now all of a sudden unlimited quarters, via
That's right.
via coin button and stuff. So I can actually go back and replay these games and really enjoy them now and stuff and see what I was missing out on. So with that in mind, my pick for Super Nintendo is arguably one of their better side-scrolling shooters, and it's called UN Squadron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This game was actually it was Capcom made it, so the same people that made 42, 43, they made this game back in 89, and it was released in Japan first. It wasn't North America or anything, but it was released in 89, and it was actually called Area 88. That was the original name of the game, and it was just your side-scrolling shooter. It bucked the trend of your vertical shooters like your 1941, 42 that Capcom also produced. But this game was much more player friendly as opposed to your other shmups at this time, whereas if you died, then you one hit would kill you and you'd lose all your power-ups and stuff like that. Like you would die and all of a sudden all the powers are like just spaz all over the place. And when you fly in, you have to try and get them all back in. You may not, you may get some or whatever. And so then you'd either be the same powered up plane or you might have less, and then you're trying to go battle a boss, and it was just a pain in the dick, and it just kind of sucked. But this game was actually way more user friendly because you basically you went in and you went in with a budget, and you could go and you'd start with $3,000, and as you played on and played through the game, you amassed more money and stuff. So then at the end of each level, you could then use that money to either buy more planes or buy like extra power-ups, better shields, better missiles, stuff like that. And then as you played the game, two categories that made it more user-friendly was the fact that you actually had a life bar. It wasn't a one-hit killed you. You could take damage throughout the level. So it wasn't like a, end-all be-all thing. And then secondly, because you bought these power-ups or bought these things, they're with you no matter what. So even when you died or you lost a life, when you came back in, you still had everything because you spent in-game money on them. You didn't have to try and catch it or whatever and stuff. So it was very, very against the norm of what normal shmups were, and it was very enjoyable. It got released in North America. They changed the name from Area 88, obviously, to UN Squadron to make it more marketable and appeal to a North American audience. But over in Japan, it was a very anime type of game and stuff, whereas here they switched it over to the planes and stuff like that. But I mean, it's very worth the time if you're a fan of side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I mean, it's
Side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
Or sorry, side-scrolling shooters.
Yeah,
my bad. I did. Y'all were talking about beat 'em ups along with, so, but that's on me. Yeah, side-scrolling shooter. It's all horizontal. There's no vertical on it. It's really been a lot of reports that I've gone back and old reviews and stuff say it's literally one of the better side-scrolling shooters on the Super Nintendo. It was only available on Super Nintendo. It didn't have a Genesis port or anything, so just Super Nintendo. So it's going to have that bright, awesome colors with it and just amazing graphics, the sound, and it's Capcom. We all know Capcom can make great shmups. So, it's not like they're going to half-ass it or anything, but UN Squadron, give it a try. Tell me what you think. I played it at a friend's house, and I enjoyed playing it there as opposed because I didn't have to give a lot of quarters and stuff. I got credits and stuff playing it at a home console, but I mean, it's a very fun game, and I've gone back and played it as an adult, and man, it's just a great game. And if you're not into shmups, give it a try. It might make you a fan. So that's all I've got to say.
Nice.
I almost don't want to say something, but I think I'm going to.
Do it.
So you're telling me they had you needed a whole asset, and they missed the opportunity of changing the name from Area 88 to UN Squadron when they had the opportunity to make it more marketable by making it Area 69. Like they could easily.
I agree.
I don't.
I mean, you could have.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I played that game. I like that game too. I agree with you. Everything that you said, I like it. Yeah, being able to buy power ups and the power ups stay with you, all that stuff, freaking dope. I agree with you. A totally different way of a shmup being played versus like if you think about. Actually, most of the verticals were that way, where you just die.
Yeah,
and
all of
get
them.
Power-ups.
Yeah,
even sides. Most of those, the same thing. You die, you got to hopefully
you get
grab
one.
your
You got
power-ups
one hit.
again. Yeah. So
this one, no, it stayed with you, and you had a life bar. You know, you could take 5 hits and then finally die instead of just the one. So it was more of an enjoyable game, not as stressful as the other ones where you got to just really be on cocaine and making sure you can like dodge everything and ready to go and stuff. So
and tough. The game is very challenging. I think
it is, yeah. Not by means, by all means, it's not a cakewalk. But I mean, it's tons of fun. Tons of fun.
Yep. And thinking of, you said you keep the stuff that you got from the end game. Well, look at our friend Endgame. Obviously, his game's over because he's not even here. His game's ended.
Yep.
and now there's 4.
Nah, it's all good. He'll be back. All right, Eric. Did you remember that?
Eric
game?
was next anyway.
Do I remember UN Squadron?
Yeah.
That was another game that I rented and played a few times. That was a game that I actually gave it a shot because the back screenshots included some anime aspects of it. And I was super into that. And so I was like, okay, I'll give this game a shot, and ended up enjoying it. It was a really good game. And I wasn't too good at the other shmups. So this one was another one that I really enjoyed.
But I don't remember the back side art or the back art. Did they have tentacles on it?
No.
No tentacles.
No, there were no tentacles.
Oh, well.
No, I wasn't into that at that age either.
It was that area. It's the other area. This was 88. Maybe that was like 89 and a half. They had the tentacles, or maybe it was that area 69.
Area 69
that's where it was. The magic.
No worries. All right, Eric, you're up, buddy.
All right, so that's interesting because UN Squadron had some anime aspects, and this game actually has some anime aspects as well.
We're just tying it all together.
I know. So this actually works out pretty good. This game I loved. This was another random one that I picked up. Didn't know what to expect. Had never seen a screenshot of it. Had never read anything about it. It had a cool title. And there was a picture of a mech on the front, and I was super into mechs and robots and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Put it in, and as soon as you put it in, you're given an intro that could have been on a PlayStation 1, and you would have been like, hey, that's a decent intro. But you think about it, it was on SNES, and you're like, damn, they did a pretty good job. Really good music. You got the pilot in the cockpit of this mech, and he's flipping switches and stuff, and you're like, dude, like what is this? This game's called Metal Warriors. And I just learned it's super expensive to buy now. But it's
just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's made by Konami. Things that I love about this game. So this game, I put it in, and the first thing I loved about it was, first of all, you're piloting a giant mech, and it's a side-scrolling shooter at first, and you're kind of like, hey, it's Contra-esque. And you're in this mech, and you got little people going around, but you're also fighting enemy mechs, and the little people, you can step on them with your big mech, or you can shoot them with your gun, and then you fight the bigger mechs and stuff. And then all of a sudden you see a mech that looks like yours, and it's just chilling, and you're like, dude, why is that mech just sitting there, and it's a different color? Then you find out, you press a different button, you can get out of your mech and run around as just your little pilot guy, and then you can jump into one of those other mechs and start piloting that. And they have different models, so different mechs have different abilities, and if your mech's damaged, you can go over, you can Grand Theft Auto someone else's mech, and you're like, oh man, mine's all damaged, I'll take this one. And then that just blew my mind when I found out I could get out of my mech and I can do stuff. There's certain secrets in different levels where you have to use your little pilot because he can like sneak through the little ventilation shafts and stuff that your mech can't get into, and that just made it great. But the other part of this game, I can't believe they crammed so much into this game. But the other part about this game is it had a split screen 2-player mode
Ooh.
that was a battle mode.
Oh.
And in the battle modes, you would go into these levels, and these levels would have hidden other model mechs that you could jump into, and it was almost like, rather than one of those games where you were kind of cheating if you looked at your friend's screen or whatever, this game kind of encouraged that, because he might jump into a mech that's like really good at ground combat, and you're like, oh, I know where the anti-ground mech is. You take your pilot, you book it over to the anti-ground mech, and you hop into that, and then you go and find him, and then he hops out and grabs another anti-air mech, and you guys are just battling. Terrific game. Really excellent music. It's got a little bit of anime aspects to it. If you love the giant robots and the fighting and the Contra-esque type stuff, it's a great game. Definitely one that needs to be on everyone's list. I urge everyone to play it. If you don't have a few $1,000s and you can't buy a copy, then definitely emulate it and play
The
it.
man's not lying.
Right.
Metal Warriors.
It's a great game. I remember the conversation I had with my friend once I put it in. I had a friend that I'm still my friend to this day, and I called him like the guru of the Super Nintendo. And I just picked up this game. I put it in, started playing it, and I couldn't believe how good it was. I called him up immediately. I was like, "Have you ever heard of this game, Metal Warriors?" He had never heard of it, and I said, "This game is pretty damn good." And he was always like, "No, it's not. You always say that about every game." And then I play it and it's crap. He played it, loved it, great game.
Does he still have it? You need to contact him.
Oh, he still
Right.
has it. He's one
damn.
that kept all of his stuff. He's still got it from when he was a kid.
And I remember
That's awesome.
he told you that you could have it. I remember.
Right.
That
Yeah.
back in the day.
I need to call him up and ask about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that time you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
man.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because you said it's like you could GTA. I'm just thinking you just mech jack somebody and just like paid somebody else throwing them
Yeah.
out, taking their step on them
I
and
thought of
everything. They just start
Titanfall.
going around.
I started
Yes.
thinking of Titanfall, like sometimes when you're like grabbing the pilots out and throwing them out or stomping on them.
Oh my
Yeah, I was
god.
like, oh,
That's
sounds great.
awesome. That sounds, I've never heard of the game, and that sounds right up my alley. So I will definitely, on the
Metal
emulation
Warrior.
side, and save $3,500. I will try and check that out for sure.
Oh man.
I want to mention something, Eric. I'm so glad first that you brought this up, because as an avid collector as I am, Super Nintendo is one of my favorite systems to collect for, and it always has been. And this is on my I have a list of like 3 to 5 games if I ever found in the wild, I would die, because this game is without a doubt like one of the best hidden gems, I think, for the entire system. And it's not just me that thinks that. There are collectors that are trying to get sets, and this game has eluded them because it was not a high print game. And the demand is still high because it's such a great game, and it's got that 2-player element that you said.
Yeah.
And it's just, I could play this game whenever I want, but I would love to be able to pop it in to the actual hardware and play it on my Super Nintendo. But you must take Eric's advice. It is just and especially you, Dantron. I mean, you love mechs. This has to be like #1 on your list. My God, if you ever see this game, and the price is somewhat decent, this is the type of game that would be worth it. I don't know. I don't know at $370, but if you could get it for maybe a little cheaper, it's one of those games that is just, it's on everybody's like white whale, like must have games for the system. It's just an awesome example of a hidden gem for Super Nintendo.
So it's up there with the price of like Chrono Trigger, is what you're saying.
In some cases, even
Yes.
more expensive.
Even
which is-
more, yeah.
Probably
even
less
even a
print,
loose
probably a lower
loose
print, right?
copy. Yeah.
Loose
Yeah.
copies more than Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, right. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. It's
Yep.
everything.
I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead, Wills.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
I was just gonna say the other thing is like I mentioned it before. I just remembered this. I say this is the game that kept on giving because I was like I would going through. I thought it was just a side-scrolling shooter. Then if I figured out I can get out of the mech, I could take different mechs or whatever. I forgot too. You have multiple weapons and stuff. Like you have a mech that's got a gun and he's also got like a laser sword. And you're like, dude, there's just more
yeah.
stuff to discover about this game. It's a great game.
I would love to see what the actual circuit board of the cart looks like. I bet you it's one of the larger circuit boards.
Yeah,
not one of the
I
smaller.
bet
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah, I bet it's heavy. I bet it's one of the heavier carts. But again, I don't know how the SNES was even capable of playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
It had so
Would-
much to it. It was a great game.
Would this be one of those games that probably had that was an F-Zero chip or whatever and stuff in it to make
Oh,
it?
it wouldn't. It wasn't
do
an
that?
FX
No.
chip,
Or no,
but
no.
So-
Okay.
It wasn't an FX chip.
Okay.
You know, without going into a great amount of detail, the FX chip allowed the SNES to create polygons.
Oh, okay.
So whereas
I'm naive on this stuff. I'm sorry.
No, that's just super simplified. It allowed the SNES to create polygons. So anytime you saw like a polygonal type game or whatever, that was probably an FX chip game. This was not that.
Okay. Gotcha.
But definitely probably a heavier cart because there was just so much to it.
Push the system, I think, to the max. This game.
Yeah.
nice.
Kind of like
All
what
right.
Mario 3 did, the NES. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
pushed it to
that's
the
still,
limits.
when you break that down, that should not work like it does on that console.
Yeah.
It
Right.
shouldn't. And you do there's
No.
lots of like videos, and there's a couple documentaries on how they were able to make that game work on the original Nintendo. It's fascinating. So if you get a chance and you're interested in how that kind of stuff works, that's another good look up. Law
And also we
episode
talked
bonus.
about that on a past Law episode, the first NES one, and we're going to do more NES ones too. That was discussed in depth there, so go find that video, give it a click for sure.
Yep. All right, Wolf,
Do
you're
we?
up. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say, do we know what happened to Endgame? Is he coming back?
He's taking care of a personal situation. He said he will be back
Yep.
and
Yep.
stuff.
We'll just
so
we'll
he's
cycle him back in. He's got
Yeah,
more good stuff,
yeah.
so it's fine. And
right.
besides, I like looking at his backgrounds, anyways. I mean,
Oh,
not to say
yeah,
that
right?
not to say that his face isn't sexy. I'm just saying
But-
that stuff that he left us with is also sexy.
yeah.
So,
Right.
Wolfman, what you got now?
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know about that, Wales. For my part, I was gonna give a eulogy right now for Endgame. I thought he was dead.
No.
But
It
it's
is
nice
not the
to know
end
that
for
he
Endgame. It's just a name.
danced a prayer. I'm glad he's coming back. So
Yeah, he from what I heard, he's just like I said, he's just taking over of a personal thing right now, and he should be back.
Watch over and
Okay.
protect our friend. Endgame.
this is what's
No
great
edits.
about Law, man.
Full and
It's
no
like
edits.
all
We do it live.
one
We do
shot.
it live.
Yeah.
There's no editing. It's a
Yeah.
one shot be all. I love it. That's how it
Yeah.
goes.
All right,
You
Wolf.
never know. All right, so my pick is, and I think Wales, you inspired me to go ahead and you talked about
Oh.
shmup. I was going to
Woo.
save it for my last pick, but oh well, what the hey?
Oh well.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh well, exactly.
well.
That's for our friend KT. This is, I think, the best shmup on the system. Now, obviously, that's subjective, right?
No.
But it's it came out for the Super Famicom. I believe it was called Super Aleste.
Oh,
And I remember like seeing pictures in a magazine. I was like, whoa, this is something else. I mean, like huge bosses and like so many different weapons. I want to say like 12 to 15 different weapons that you get for your ship. And I was blown away. And then it came out in North America and it was renamed Super Mega Force
Yes.
for the SNES. And
It's a good one.
Super Mega Force.
and
Is
this
there anything more American? Like, it's like the Japanese are like, they're not going to get Alice Day, so let's just call it Super Mega Force. You know what they probably did? They were like, all right, so it's on the Super Nintendo, so we have to add Super. To the title.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what else is American? American's Mega. Mega.
Yeah.
You know what? Mega Force. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Let's go with it.
That's it. Do it.
All
Hey,
right. Well,
folks. First off, do not let the name, throw you for a loop, as well as the artwork's kind of pretty bland on the cart. But
Eh.
I mean, good God, if you like shmups, this is the one to play on the system. And I think I own all the shmups for Super Nintendo because I love me a good shmup. And this one has yet to be knocked off the peg as the king of shmups. Unfortunately for collectors, it is extremely pricey. So, you play this emulation without a doubt. I have never seen it in the wild ever. Matter of fact, I had to buy it on eBay because I wanted it so bad. Now, this was years ago. I want to say it's a couple $100 now. I remember thinking, geez, I think I spent like $85 on it. I was like, man, I overpaid for this game, but I just had to have it. It is amazing. Giant sprites. The soundtrack is amazing. It's a vertical shmup. Bosses, just so cool. Parallax scrolling in the background, mode 7 effects. I mean, the Super Nintendo was using everything to get this game working, and it is, jot this game down on your list. It is a must play. Even if you don't like shmups, I challenge you to at least just try this. I think you'd have fun with it. The weapons, how you could, as the little dots are coming down, there's different colors, like a blue and a green and a red, and red might give you a weapon, whereas green gives you a different type of shield. And then there's different ×6. So if you get a ×6 bubble, it adds 6 times the amount of weapons that you have. So I forgot what it's called. It's like a blaster. You get one of these blasters and it follows you around the ship. So if you get the 8, you get 8 of those things that you're controlling, and each one is shooting, and it's just so cool. It is tough. I don't know if you'd call it a bullet hell, but it's definitely a tougher shooter or shmup. But I'm begging you to at least try this game.
So don't forget the name, Super Mega Force.
Yeah, right.
Say it with me again, Super Mega Force.
Yeah.
Is it 3 words, 2 words, all 1 word?
No,
Two.
it's
Super,
two
Super
words.
Mega Force.
Super
Yeah.
and then Mega Force.
Oh, wait a minute.
Right.
There's no super.
Oh, it's just Mega Force?
But it's because I can't find Super Mega Force. I can't find it at all.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Oh,
it
it is Super Mega Force, isn't it?
It's space.
Oh,
Space
even
Mega.
better.
Jesus.
Space
Okay.
Mega Force.
I was like, because I cannot find this at all. Okay,
Space
space.
Mega
Look at Wales. He's got smoke coming out of his
Yeah.
nose.
I'm not. I'm just like, what the hell? White Wolf never lies. He never
You know what?
lies.
So, Wolf, we've been doing this for a while now,
Okay.
and I just had something that just clicked into my brain. And I know that you like shmups, and I know you like side-scroller beat-em-ups, and you say you don't like RTS or anything that slows stuff down. So I figured it out. When you were younger, you just wanted to get through things. You liked things that were fast and you could progress quickly. You didn't like to be stalled out. And now that you've gotten a little...
That's not true, because I loved RPGs. And you want to talk about a slow plod, I loved all the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that, and JRPGs. Time sucks, 40, 60-hour games. So there's no reason why. It's not like I didn't have the patience to play those type of games. They just didn't gravitate. I didn't gravitate towards it at that time in my life, whereas now I appreciate them much more, like a Pikmin type of game. I love those type of games. They're so much fun. Puzzle elements and strategy.
Pikmin is very much like 3-dimensional Lemmings.
Yeah.
No.
In its basic,
No.
in its basic form,
Negative.
yeah. I mean, when you were describing King Arthur, I was like, okay, well, we need these blue Pikmin to get over here and
Yeah.
do this one blue thing. I mean, you just got to direct that menu.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolf,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
still an
Space
enigma.
Megaforce.
No.
Space.
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 Mega
Space
Space.
Megaforce.
That's
Yeah.
Space
2 shows in a row with
Mega.
errors. I love
Oh
it.
my
I'm,
God.
I'm losing a
Space.
step here.
Space
Oh,
Mega
boy.
Force.
Yeah.
It is $200 for a loose copy, and if you have a factory sealed copy, you are looking at over $2,100.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Very
And what was the Japanese name for it?
Alistair?
Super Aleste.
Was it Super or Space Celeste?
Or was it Space Celeste? Yeah.
Was it Space Celeste?
So,
Oh, you guys are busting
Space
chops. I
just
love
so you
it.
guys know too, because nerd stuff, Alistair is still out there. Like, there's still newer versions of Alistair out there. There's some in Technoparrot,
Really?
if you guys are interested. There's a couple of really good versions. Some of my favorite shooters, actually, on Technoparrot, yep,
Here it is.
Space.
Eric,
Mega
there it is.
Oh, it
It's
is
the family.
Super
Yeah.
Alistair. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool, Larson. They're still making Alistair kind of like the Darius Burst games
Yep.
and stuff
And
like
you know
that.
how I
They're still
remember?
coming.
The female characters. That's what reminds.
Of
that's,
course.
I like that.
You always pick the chick.
Yeah.
Always.
They're the
Always.
best characters. They just are.
They do. They have the
Everything
best
about,
powers.
Everything about females are better than males. That's just the way it is.
Mhm.
So, is it my turn now? Are we gonna?
It's your turn now, Larson. Yeah. Well,
It is.
we're just gonna.
We do it
ignore that
live.
one.
We do
Yeah,
it
we're gonna
live.
Ignore that one. That was a speed bump. We're just gonna go
Yeah.
right past it. No
Right.
stop sign. Okay, so this next one is an Activision,
no derail.
Activision game. So lots of games.
Okay, all right.
Activision put a lot of games out, and this game in particular, with this title, there's probably, to this day, I want to say there's probably 14 or 15 different versions that carry this title. Some of them are similar. They have similar qualities, but they are not all the same. And this is one of the ones that is very, very unique. And I like it because it is that way. It is not simple. It is a little bit more of a challenging. It is a platformer, and it's Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure.
Ooh.
So
okay.
yeah,
I was not expecting.
yeah,
All right.
and neither was I. I own this for a specific reason. When I played it, this was one of those rental games I played, and I was like, "There's nothing here." I want to say it was like 4th of July weekend. All the games were rented, and I was like, all we got left was like Hello Kitty Adventure and then this Pitfall game. And
Island
I knew
Adventure.
I had it. Whatever. And so I was like, I was like, all right, well, let me try this Pitfall. This doesn't play like a normal Pitfall. Like, you think about Pitfall from like way back, like Atari, where you're just jumping, you're missing the alligators, you're grabbing ropes
Yep.
and stuff.
You're
So
swooping.
there's stuff like that in this, but this is a different style of platformer where it's like more of the three-dimensional. You'll go up a ramp another direction, you'll go up a ramp this way, you'll shoot through some stuff. There's like these little like totems that'll kind of remind you and tell you which way you need to go as little hints. There's the music is great. There's these like weird monkeys. The sound effects are fantastic. But
I love weird monkeys.
dude, this game
Yeah.
is another one. You know, you're kind of like, oh great, Pitfall, really? How many times do we have to talk about Pitfall? Just try this one. This one's different. It is not simple though. It is a little bit on the harder side, but it is really cool. But look past the the butthole looking quicksand pits that shrink and grow that you got to make it over and all that kind of stuff. But once you get used to that, like that whole dynamic on how it works, it's freaking awesome. So Eric's just losing it down there. Sorry, buddy. But
Just get used to the butthole and the,
The
weird
butthole
monkeys.
sand pits and the
Don't
weird
Please
monkeys.
give this
Don't get
game a shot, man.
I'm just saying, don't get sidetracked. Don't
Derail.
get sidetracked from the derail, the butthole, quicksand hole. But check this one out. Like, seriously, you guys, try this one out. It is a lot of fun. The sound effects are good. The animation's good. The graphics are actually really, really nice. Super Nintendo, big sprites. If one thing I would say is that might be one of the determinants. Two things. One, it is very hard, and two, the sprites are so big
Giggity.
that the camera seems in close, so sometimes it's harder
Yeah.
to see which direction you need to go. But outside of those, this is a great game to try out. One that I was not expecting to like, and I really liked it. I do consider this one a hidden gem.
I want to know, sorry, go ahead, Will.
No, you go. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I want to know what happened, like at Activision, where they were like trying to think of a game to make, and they're like, "Dude, remember Pitfall?" let's do that,
but totally different.
quicksand, buttholes,
Yes.
weird
And the weird
monkeys.
monkey.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
all I was gonna say was I didn't play the game, but I distinctly remember the ad campaign for it. Like you were going through the jungle, they had like the trees and stuff for it, but I do not remember butthole sand pits or weird
so
monkey noises on the ads. But I mean,
the
hey,
weird the main character reminds me of if you imagine if you've seen Scooby Doo, like not the game Scooby Doo, but the actual show Scooby Doo, like old school
Mhm.
Scooby Doo, not the new stuff, but the old
the
the
60s
way
stuff,
the way
right?
that Shaggy runs and the way Shaggy moves in the old school cartoon, that is how the animation is for this Pitfall character, main character. So
Gotcha.
it has that kind of
Neat.
that funny run, but there's really cool things that you learn as you're playing through it too. Like you can double tap sometimes the jump really quick up against the wall, and you can do like a backflip off of the wall. So you can like there's weird things that you figure out as you're playing. You're like, oh, I didn't know we could do that, and you just find it out by just playing the game. There's all these different layers to it, and you don't realize it until you actually start getting into it. And it's one of those games that you get to it, and you're like, oh, I think I can make it a little farther than that. It's fun to figure out how you're getting through there. It does remind me of the same way that you would go through what is it? One of those difficult games, not necessarily Dark Souls like, but where you don't really know you don't know that you're going to actually beat the area or the game, but you're going to do better each time, right? And you get a little better each time, and you're able to progress through that way.
Oh, rogue, like rogue type
rogue
games?
style games, yeah, like Hades, kind of, where
Yep.
you're not going to make it all the way through. You got to
Dead Cells.
yeah, and so it's similar to that. It has that feel to it, not like the depth of those games, but the feel of, all right, I'm just going to try and do a little better this time. And it's fun because you're like, all right, I think I can do better, rather than just like the hard stop. so anyways,
Yeah.
it's a fun one.
And the character also could spank his monkey too.
Yeah, no, you're
that
whipping.
was the weird
You
monkey
whip
noises.
the monkey. That's what you do.
Oh,
You
look
whip
at
it.
Eric's
Oh.
head. Eric's head just went down
Yeah.
instantly. I said that and it went, it went right down.
Please
I
don't
thought we moved past this.
Gravity took over.
Please don't unsubscribe. Please don't leave.
Wales
Please.
started it with Booger Man, and it just put us all.
Hey, we're all juveniles. It's okay.
Yes,
No big deal.
yes.
No
All
big
right.
deal.
Yep.
So Wales,
Real
you're back
quick
up.
though,
Oh, go
Dan,
ahead.
right before
Yeah.
Wales goes, I think, because Eric brings up a good point. Wow. I mean, you got to go back to Atari 2600 to the Activision catalog and pick Pitfall, but it's actually a great series to continue to put out on platform to platform, because to me, Pitfall reminds me of what everybody loves, and that's Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's the sense of adventure. It's the the guy with the whip, and he's looking for something, and you have all these perils like snakes and quicksand and all that stuff. So it's actually a really cool thing to build off of, to see like how bad the 2600 graphics were. And one of my favorite games for PS1 is the Pitfall game. I love that game. I think it's Bruce Campbell. I think he voiced the guy in the Pitfall game, and he's so funny. And it's a 3D version of that, and it's interesting to see how that type of game has evolved since the 2600.
Very cool.
For sure.
And now it's Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Wales, you're up. This is the last round.
right.
This is the
Last
round.
round. Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I have saved my best for last, and if I wouldn't even call it. I mean, this is kind of a hidden gem. The name for it is not a hidden gem at all. It's a very well-known name. But if I had been on an episode of top picks games of all, your all time, this would be on there. I mean, this is easily probably one of my possibly top 5, but definitely top 10 Super Nintendo games of all time for me personally. And if you're a fan of comic books, you'll like this game. It's called X-Men Mutant Academy. I own this game still. I do not, or not Mutant Apocalypse. Sorry, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. And I do not. Endgame's alive.
He's like, I'm still
He's alive.
Back from the dead.
I'm still alive.
My man comes in clutch.
Yeah.
So yes, that was it. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Only released for Super Nintendo. Did not make any other ports or anything, or not even a port, because it wasn't an arcade game. My favorite X-Men game of all time is the main game, the 6-player double screen, going to Even Dazzler. Great game, awesome stuff.
Hey, Dazzler was awesome.
Yeah, and so I mean,
Not
after
dazzling.
that game though, after that game, I mean, this is probably my next favorite X-Men game, along with just the X-Men Genesis game. I'm those two are neck and neck, but this game was so good, made by Capcom. This is a side-scrolling beat 'em up / platformer. The levels are amazing. The sprites are big, except for Wolverine. He still does his little hunch over thing that he always does, grr and stuff, shit like that. But he's probably the most powerful one of all. You pick between Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Psylocke, and Gambit. They have their own specific levels, their own specific bosses that you have to beat. I remember when I finally got through all their levels, because you have 3 lives to do each one. And the problem is with the game, if you didn't beat the level within 3 tries, you couldn't advance in the game. Like, you're locked out, you were done. So you had to beat each person's level and their boss. And then with the name Mutant Apocalypse, you already know the villain is who? Apocalypse, right? And
Right.
so you would go through the levels, and when you end up facing Apocalypse, and then I beat him, I was like, yeah, I beat the game. I didn't beat the game. There was still more to come, and I'm not going to spoil it for you and stuff, so that way you can go through and play and see who the final boss is. But there's more levels after that, so it came out during the X-Men cartoon. So if any of y'all were a fan of the X-Men cartoon, and I'm super stoked about, was it X-Men 95, X-Men 97 that's fixing to come out. They got all the original actors, that animation coming through. So I'm anxious to see how that goes, because I'm a huge X-Men fan. I love Wolverine. It's my favorite comic book character of all time. It's just a great game, easy to control. You know, everybody has their mutant powers in it, and they're easy to master and stuff. And it's just, you go through a bunch of baddies, beat them and stuff, and there's different levels to them. You've got halfway bosses on the levels as well before you get to the final boss, and the sounds are great. It's all iconic. It might not even be a hidden gem, just because it is X-Men and it's Capcom, and I mean, they never let you down and stuff. But I mean, it's a really good game, and it ended up, even, and I didn't know this until I got my machine, it ended up spawning a sequel, but not just an X-Men sequel. It ended up spawning another game called Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. And so this the first Mutant Apocalypse, that came out in 95. And so 2 years later, in 97, is towards the end of 96, early 97, is when War of the Gems came out. I have not personally played it. I take that back. I've played it, but it's not just X-Men based. You still have, it's the same premise. You have 5 characters. You have Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hulk, and let me see, I think I had it pulled up here. I'm trying to figure out Spider-Man. Those are your 5 people that you have to do the same thing. You beat their level, beat their boss, and then the game goes on. It's harder. It's way harder. I have yet to do it and beat all the character levels, but I'm going to keep trying. But it's the same thing. Capcom made it. But it's called War of the Gems. That's also a shot if you want to give it at. But definitely do X-Men Mutant Apocalypse first and get a feel for what to expect. But great game. So I'll leave that one there and let y'all discuss.
What I want to say real
There's
quick about
Endgame.
this game. Welcome back, in game. That's awesome.
Well,
Glad
you
you're
guys were talking about X-Men animated.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
Yeah, guys.
My God, it's
Everyone knows
Lazarus.
that intro.
He's a,
But
Whoop, there's the game.
so there was an X-Men game that came out for SNES by a legendary company called JLN. That was called X-Men or Spider-Man and the X-Men Arcade's Revenge.
Yes.
Yes. So
Wow.
that game
Yeah.
was terrible, and it came out
Oh,
in
yeah.
'92, and I felt like Capcom played that game, or at least read reviews, and was like, "Hey, we could do this game, but like the right way."
Right.
And that's what Mutant Apocalypse was, and then War of the Gems, and which led into later on Marvel Superheroes, the fighting games and stuff. So
Yep. Yeah, the first one there was Children of the Atom. That was the first fighting game. Its success did so well, then they did Marvel Superheroes next, and
Yep.
the rest is
Yep.
history, as we
And
shall say. But
they should have stopped at Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because Ultimate Mortal Kombat or Marvel Capcom 3 is not so good.
Hey, I
Oh,
like
that's
that
true.
game.
It's okay. It's okay, but it's not
Yeah.
not the same.
Dude, Deadpool is great.
Yeah, Deadpool is great. You're absolutely right. Deadpool is great. Dante is great, but
Yeah.
the rest of them,
Yeah, there's some suspect characters. I don't know why they
super
included.
sus.
yeah, but Eric, to your point, yeah, the arcade's nightmare or whatever it was,
Yeah.
I got that because the X-Men for the Genesis, where you play Wolverine, Nightcrawler,
Yep.
Cyclops, that's the game that helped steer me into a Genesis after the NES was Sonic, and then playing that. The fact that I could push a button and Wolverine would bust the claws out. You press A, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And the game was really good. It had a good
Yep.
storyline, had good characters. And so then when that game came out, I'm thinking it's the sequel, even though the actual sequel was Clone Wars for
Yeah.
the first X-Men. I got that thinking, oh, this is gonna be great. It that's well, if you talk about like box art and there's no reviews, no videos, and you buy it and you just want to smash your head in the wall.
Yeah.
That was that game. I was
Yeah.
so embarrassed to be owning and playing that, and then actually play because I bought it on Genesis, obviously, and then I played it on Super Nintendo. It's completely different games, but the end result, it's still hot flaming garbage. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what system. It's just a terrible game. They
Well,
just basically made it
that
off of
was-
the name alone.
That was JLN in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
but yeah, this
Yeah.
Mutant Apocalypse completely whitewashes all that away for the good
Yeah.
part, I should say.
Yeah, the platforming in Arcade's Revenge was really difficult. Like Gambit stage where that giant boulder is chasing you. Storm, you're
Oh, God.
swimming under the water. So hard.
What?
Yeah,
That
Wolverine,
doesn't
you have
even
to
make
outrun
sense.
Juggernaut.
What is
Yeah.
Storm
Stupid
Aquaman now?
game.
What's happening?
Well,
It's a
I hope she doesn't
stupid
throw
game.
lightning bolts there. Fuck.
For some reason, Cyclops was wearing like his Gen 2 suit, which was
The blue
odd.
with the white X and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it was
It was-
so yeah.
it was
In
weird.
Wales, Mutant Apocalypse, it's your side-scrolling beat 'em up, but you also had Street Fighter-like moves. You know, like the
Mhm.
uppercuts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You could yeah, because if you pressed up and fight, like if you're Gambit, you would do like a spinning round, not a round, but like a spinning flip kick. Wolverine would do a straight huge uppercut with the claws. So it was character specific, but it was all just charge moves or Cyclops was the directional, like Hadouken kind of thing and stuff.
Yep.
But then if you did the reverse of it, he would do a crouching laser blast and stuff. So I mean, it had some strategic elements to it and whatnot. But it's
Yeah,
great game.
But was it back to block? Because Thin Scan doesn't want.
There's no blocking. There's no blocking. You just took that damage.
Yeah.
Not a fighter. This is a beat 'em up. Wolf would love this game if he hasn't played it already.
I don't think I have this one. I'm gonna put it on my list for sure. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, if you like X-Men or any of that characters, and like I said, Capcom did it right. I mean, they gave him huge sprites. Like the Cyclops looks like he's had like fucking 10 injections of steroids and can take everybody out. Beast is really colorful. Psylocke is Psylocke Larson. She's very
Was it a leaf field drawing?
well depicted in this game. I'll say that.
It was
especially in a sweeping motion if you pause it at the right time.
What's this called? Oh, Mutant Apocalypse.
X-Men Mutant Apocalypse.
Oh, I do have it. Oh my
Nice.
God, it's a lot of money too.
Mhm.
Really?
More than I thought.
Nice.
cool.
It's a good game.
Nice.
It
I'll have
is.
to check that
Very
one
good.
out too. Thanks, Wales.
I have
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Eric. Last
All
round.
right, my last game. This game, I had to go with a different genre that I don't normally play because this is such a good example of it. This game came out for the SNES. What does it say? 93. And this included some, we talk about good soundtracks on the SNES. This actually had licensed music from Black Sabbath, Steppenwolf, George
Ooh.
Thorogood,
Oh,
Rush.
I'm down.
This game, Judas Priest. This game had some great music in it.
Man.
This game is called Rock and Roll Racing. There's the cartridge right there. It has some badass cars on it. Rock and roll racing, obviously, because of the soundtrack that plays while you're on the tracks. It's got a different view. It's not like from the back like Mario Kart. It's isometric, so I don't. If you're familiar with RC Pro-Am on the original NES, it's kind of like that type of view. That being said, you upgrade, you buy car upgrades. Each level is a different track, a different style of track, and requires a different type of car. In one level you're doing hovercrafts, and another level you're doing these cars with treads. You upgrade your guns, you upgrade all kinds of stuff, and you race and you shoot each other and you listen to rock and roll music. And it was a great game. This game was published by Interplay, but developed by a game called Silicon and Synapse, which eventually went on to become Blizzard by the Blizzard Entertainment.
Whoa,
It was created
right.
by the original founders, Mark Morheim. If you know who that is, he was one of the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment. But Silicon and Synapse was his first gaming company. And this is just a great game. 2-player, so you can battle your friends. And it doesn't have like a battle mode. You're just racing, but you can battle your friends on the tracks and whatnot. Really good game, fun racing game. I typically don't play racing type games unless they've got some shtick to them. Like Mario Kart, I'll play because there's lots of cool stuff in there. Stunt Race FX, I'll play because it's got unique graphics. Are you waving? Bye.
Wolf is in a trance. I'm not
That's
sure.
because he doesn't like Stunt Race FX.
I wasn't frozen. I was doing that on purpose.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to see how long I couldn't blink.
This is a good game. Way better than some of those other games like Virtua Racing. Sorry, Arcade Adam, that was for you.
No, boy. Oh, man.
Them's fighting the herd.
Man.
Problem solved with Eric just lost a sub.
That's
right.
Okay,
Problems
sorry.
created by Eric.
Problems created. Oh shit! One member Arcade Adam.
Right.
Oh man.
No, I like virtual racing. I like virtual racing, but it is just a racing game. This has an extra stuff to it, which is those are the racing games I like.
So I got okay. So I'm gonna obviously add it just because the music aspect alone. I mean, that sounds dope as all get out. So there's guns with it. So obviously it's not a twisted metal type thing like car combat. You're actually racing. So can you just like?
I would say like a predecessor to Twisted Metal. Like you're shooting rockets at each other and blowing up cars.
So Twisted Metal RC Pro-Am hybrid with rock music.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, because Twisted Metal, it's fight to the death. This game, you're still racing, like to get to a finish line.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not, but you do weaponize it. So that's why I'm curious. Is like, so could you, like, I guess if you're playing, one player, you try and blow up your competition so that way you can win, obviously, and stuff. But if you're doing like a 2-player, get the same thing, and you just basically gun down your buddy, your split screening, I guess, like that, and then just go on. And that's crazy. I like that.
Yeah, no,
never heard of this. I'm definitely giving this a shot.
It's a good game. Racing. Definitely unique, a unique game, but yeah, really, real good. And it was crazy that they had officially licensed music. Blizzard re-released this game, so you can actually play it on PC. And they added music to it. So there's actually more music on the PC version. Same graphics and everything like that. But...
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they remastered it or...
Huh? Did they keep the license tracks?
Yeah, it has all the same license
they
tracks.
Just added... Did they add... Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, like you said. So did they add new tracks since they added new songs, or is it just they just added songs to the regular...
They added tracks as well, I believe.
Okay.
So Mark Morheim had a side gig, which was a band that was called Elite Tour and Chieftain, and they played metal music, and they added some of those songs to the game too.
Cool.
Nice. Very nice.
The game's awesome. It is just, I'll tell you, Eric brought the goddamn heat this episode. He came out guns a-blazing, man. All 3 of his picks were gems, and this is no different. This is a must play for anybody that likes fun type racers. It is awesome. I own it. I play it to this day. I've played with my kids. It is just so much fun. It is definitely a hidden gem, and it's a great pick, Eric.
We're looking at you, Ryan Horton, calling you out. You love RC Pro-Am, this style. This is a game for you. I immediately just thought of you. Try it.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that.
Horton.
A more violent version of RC Pro-Am, basically.
Right.
With the kick-ass
with
soundtrack.
amazing, with amazing tunes. What's not like to like?
Yeah.
Spicy RC
Absolutely.
Pro-Am. Super RC Pro-Am. Wait, no, they don't have
Mega
that.
Super RC Pro-Am.
Mega
Ace RC Pro-Am.
In space.
Yes.
Space Mega RC.
End game, you get two
two.
games, okay?
Yeah, you get to double dip, buddy.
I'll
dip.
go a little quick here.
Double
since,
dip
this is
'em.
Some action. Taking notes on your UN squadron.
Double
That was
fist.
awesome. Your bombing runs. What Metal Combat? How much is that going for? Ridiculous.
Metal Warriors.
Metal Warriors,
Yeah, crazy.
$3
prices.
grand. Ugh.
And then what is it? Super Mega Space Force? We don't even know that one.
Super, not super.
All right.
Space Force.
Larson, the guy in Pitfall, he runs like the Aladdin in Super Nintendo. That's how he runs.
That's
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
that as well.
Yes.
All right. So my first game that I'm going to talk about is a game that I don't think actually came out in the US. I played it on my arcade one, just scanning through the different Super Nintendo games. I'm like, what's this game? This looks pretty cool. It reminded me of an arcade game that I played at the Galloping Ghost, which is Brave Firefighters, which is this really cool game where you hold these hoses and you're putting out fires, except this is the 16-bit top-down version, and it's called The Firemen. And have you guys ever heard of this game before?
Yeah.
Yes, played it today.
It's good.
Have not heard of this.
Yeah, it might not be the best game ever, right? But it's a hidden gem because it's unique. I've never really played a game like this outside of Brave Firefighters. The whole concept of the game is you're going through level after level, floor after floor, rescuing people, getting to the top, putting out fires. It should have been a two-player game because there is a computer-controlled second player that comes with you. He has different abilities. He has an axe. He can break through doors for you. You have a hose. You have different functions for it. So you can do like a spread, which is weaker, but you can cover more area, or you can have it more focused. And it's a lot like a puzzle game where you're trying to get from point A to point B. And how do you get there? Do you crawl under a table, take a shortcut? Do you go around the safer way, but then you're controlled? And there's a time ticking down the whole time as well. And there's even boss fights in the game. You're fighting a flaming escalator, a ball of fire spitting out other balls. So it's unique, and it's a top-down game. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty fun game, a hidden gem that you're not going to play or find anywhere else on besides the Super Nintendo.
How big was the hose?
What?
Pretty big.
Pretty big. It had a huge spray. You could have it spread. Just
it could.
You could alternate it.
yeah.
My
The
God.
soft drink goes in the bag. Okay.
We're all 9 years old.
In
right?
the
We
bag.
are. When I said juveniles at the beginning, I totally
Yeah.
fucking meant it, and I am part of that. It's
Yeah.
watching Larson keep it together. I'm
This-
super proud of you, dude.
This was not a Dantron derail this time. This was not.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to claim any of that.
All of us know you did great.
It's
The rest
all
of us
whales.
couldn't hold it together.
Kept my mouth shut.
Damn, we do it live.
We
Oh
do it
my
live.
God.
That's right.
One take.
Flame.
Yeah, you do it.
Flaming
you do
balls.
it not alive.
Flaming
That's
balls.
necrophilia, and we're not doing that either. So go ahead and end game. Give us your second one.
Double dip it.
And this next one might not even be that big of a hidden gem, because it is a known one on the Super Nintendo, but it's Big Brother, everybody knows. Contra 3, The Alien Wars, amazing side-scrolling shooter. This is actually a series of 2 games called Super Turrican 1 and 2. And they're very similar to the Contra games, where you're running, shooting, you have your bombs that can blow up. The second game is pretty unique because you can actually use a bionic commando grapple-like maneuver in the game.
Nice.
So you have more like horizontal levels and vertical levels.
Metal
So I thought that
hoses
was a
now
pretty-
too.
That's right.
Exactly. I thought
You
that
had to
was a pretty
stretch
unique
for that
feature.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever played Super Turrican?
It
I
is
have played
amazing.
Super Turrican. It's a great game. The difficulty level is quite high.
Yes.
Similar to like Contra 3. difficulty level. Or as I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you get like 3 lives and there's like no continues or something.
I
And
think there's some continues, and you can find hidden lives in the levels too.
right, but there's no like there's no continue or there's no save
Like
progress
save state,
feature.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Correct,
no
correct.
password feature.
Right.
This is another game by that weird company Seika, I
Yep.
think.
It is.
So Turrican has great graphics and great
Yes.
music, and love it. It's just hard as hell.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
massive boss fights.
Oh,
They're
definitely.
tough in the game as well.
And
Yep, neat power ups too, like in Contra. You have your different guns that you have and your different bombs and stuff. It's definitely pretty fun. If you like Contra, you'll like Super Turrican 1 and 2.
mm-hmm.
I want to say it has a little more platforming than Contra
It does,
has.
yes,
Yeah.
it does. And in the second game with that bionic commando arm, you have grappling where you're swinging. You can go up vertically. You can climb the side of walls. Yep.
Yeah.
And game, it's very expensive. The first
Really?
game is like 40 or 50 bucks, but the second game is like pushing 300. It is very rare. It's on my list of 5 games that I must own before I die, and I've never seen Super Terracon 2 ever in a store in the wild. I see it on eBay for ridiculous prices, but it must have had a really limited run, that second Super Terracon 2. I mean, you could see Super Terracon in places, but that second one, woo!
Did it come out late in the Super Nintendo lifestyle?
I think it
cycle,
did.
maybe?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yep.
Okay.
I think even the first one came out late too, didn't it? I could
No,
be
but
wrong.
the first, I don't know. We could look it up.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these games that we talked about, the graphics are just so gorgeous on the 16-bit, just so colorful. Yeah. The sound effects, that's why the Super Nintendo is such a great system.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously.
Turnican, is it
93?
93. So not late. It's Turnican though, right? Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Turrican, I think. But
Turrican, that's what it is.
Turrican.
Turrican.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah.
Listen, Super Mario.
Oh, he's
boy.
busting my Philly accent. What the hell, man?
That's right.
Yeah. California.
Oh man! All right, Wolf,
Nice.
you're up. Your
Super
final...
Space Megaforce.
Super Space.
I'm never gonna live
Megaphone.
that down. My
Ah.
God.
Wolf, that's what took me so long to get back. I'm like, is it super or not super? Half of the
It's
Super Nintendo
Yeah, it
library
could-
starts with super.
Is
I
super,
know.
I'm
yes.
looking it up.
Exactly.
It made sense. It did.
No one even
Yes.
questioned him.
Nope.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
I was just trying to see how much it cost, and I was like, it's not pulling up. What the hell?
It's
Wolf
that rare.
never lies.
It's that
I
rare.
know.
Yeah, it was that rare. Yeah. We
I-
don't speak it.
But it was so funny. I saw like matrix symbols coming out of your head and like smoke, and
Mhm.
I was like, "What?"
Well,
the
it's like
hell
the
you
only thing
doing?
I'm finding is Super Megaforce Power Rangers, and I'm like, that's
Yep.
clearly not
Me
what he
too.
said.
Yeah.
That's all I could find too. I watched it.
Right? Yeah, it was like
Pretty
this Wolf doesn't lie. What the fuck?
Well, no, apparently I do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if this is our last game, then what the hey? I'm throwing one of my favorites on the system. It's called Hagani, the Final
Yes.
Conflict.
I
And
don't know this one.
Yeah, I don't know this
don't
one
either.
either. Meaning it's expensive.
it is very expensive, but it came out really at the tail end of the Super Nintendo life. And I want to say, was it like just a Blockbuster rental? It's something
Oh.
along those lines, or it had a limited print run, and then like you could only like buy it, I think, at some point at Blockbuster. And
like
there's something like that.
Clay
It was
Fighter, like that Clay Fighter
Interesting.
director's cut.
yes,
It was one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
a
ones.
lot like that.
There
Yep.
was like 3 or 4 games that did that.
Yep, and that's one of them. And it's a shame because the game is awesome. Anybody that's played this game, it if you like Ninja Gaiden or you like
Shinobi?
what's another game that it's like Ninja
Oh.
Gaiden mixes with Blade Runner, and you're like a ninja from the future, and you have like these really
Like
weapons.
Strider.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Strider.
That's a great
Yeah.
one, Eric. It's like
Yep.
Strider and Ninja Gaiden, made love, and the end product was this game. It's
Nice.
really punishingly hard. Every year I try to beat this game, and every year I fail. It's just one of the hardest games. I have such a hard time with this game. I think it's punishingly difficult. I don't know if it was Endgame or Wales that talked about you only had a limited number of lives, and you only had like a continue, and then like so you had to like basically get through like the first 2 or 3 levels and not like lost a life if you even have a chance to beat this game. The sound is amazing. The graphics are okay. The people kind of laud this game for the gameplay. I don't know. I thought the graphics were pretty good, and I thought the sound was pretty good too. I don't know what the critics were saying, but it's to me, it's a hidden gem for this system, because I feel not a lot of people never heard of this game, nor have they played it, and that's a crying shame. And I think that people should, and I think you should write this down on the list, and I will ship you a ship bottom Mexican stout if you could beat this game. I need proof. I need a picture on your phone, because I don't think this game could be beaten.
You know what?
Really?
You know what? I get the feeling here, Wolf, that this is like one of those times when you have your wife or significant other or your kids. They have this whatever food that they're gonna get, and they're like, "Oh, this tastes awful. Try it." I'm getting that vibe from this. Like, oh, it kind of tastes good, but it's way too hard. Here, try this. And I'm like, I don't. That's not making me want to.
Yeah,
it's like you will not beat this game. All
Hey.
right.
I know. Maybe I don't know. Has anybody else played it? Maybe I'm.
I
What's
think
it
I
called
played
again?
it, but I don't remember it. Hagane Final Conflict.
Yeah.
But it's I looked at screenshots of it. It looks very familiar. But I don't remember it. All I heard was that if I beat it, Wolf's sending me a Mexican bottom. So
I am.
I'm ready.
Well, not a Mexican bottom.
that's
That would
it,
be
just
a
the bottom.
female.
That's
I'm going to send you a beer.
That's Dahmer
Oh.
style. We don't want
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah, it's called ship
Well-
bottom, not Mexican bottom.
Oh.
Yeah, get in
So
trouble.
Wolf, I had this game that sounds somewhat similar to it on
Yep.
NES called Shadow of the Ninja.
Yeah.
Have you played that? Is it
Yes,
at all
I have.
similar to it? Because that game was tough as nails as well.
Yep. I would say Endgame that it harkens a lot to Hagani. Hagani is just Shadow the Ninja, 16-bit on steroids. It's
Okay.
actually a great example of what the game plays like. But I don't want Dantron to hear me say that it's tough as nails, because that's going to turn people off from trying it. But if you have emulation, it does it matter? I mean, Wales brought up the point of, shmups. He didn't play shmups because, it ate his quarters. But
Right.
now that everybody's got a way to play these games, you have unlimited quarters. So why not try all of these games and just see if you like them? It's
Yeah,
it's nothing.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
And I'm actually really glad that you pivoted off of your other games to this game, because
Mhm.
you've been talking about this game for a while. I put it on my favorites on my
Yep.
Super Nintendo wheel, and I was surprised you weren't going to bring this up, because I'm like, this is your ultimate hidden gem for Super Nintendo. So I'm so happy that you brought it up, and I'm definitely going to play it, and I'm definitely going to win that stout.
Oh, dude, I'll do better than that Endgame if you you beat that game and you take a picture. I'll be so impressed, because it was very much like all of this genre of games like Dark Souls and Demon Souls. It's just so punishing, and I think I'm pretty good at those type of games. And it's just I want to
just not
pull
jumping.
air out and throw the controller through the TV. It's fun. I enjoy it, but after about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I got to walk away. I got to say, okay, in another 5-6 months, I'll give it another try. I love the game, and that's why I keep coming back to it, but it is so hard.
How do you spell it? I'm trying to.
Hagane, Hagane.
Don't take Wolf's word for it. Come on, Wales. He's already gotten you once.
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
It's super
Yeah.
Hagani.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Super Hagane. final
Oh.
Yeah. The final conflict is that super is always at the beginning of every title for Super Nintendo.
I know, seriously.
All right, is this it? This is me, right?
This is it.
This is you.
This is
Bring
it.
us home, Dan.
Bring
All
it
right.
home.
So I'm bringing it home with a favorite for Super Nintendo, which is another Konami game. This is one of the games. So everybody knows I like robots. I like shooters. So this is a mech shooter, and I would say it's reminiscent to kind of a Metal Slug. I would say Metal Slug-ish.
Oh, I know what game you're talking about.
And it's basically you're in a mech and you're walking along. You can fly. You have different weapons that you can change, and it is called Cybernator.
Yes.
That's a great game.
Yep.
So this game is another one of those hidden gems. I don't think it's too expensive, but it's not one of the cheaper ones either. But it is a fun shooter, side scroller shooter, and like one of your weapons is like his fist that extends, so you can call it a beat 'em up. So it's kind of like a shooter, but so it reminds me though more of a Metal Slug type game. It has that kind of, or Dolphin Blue, but you're not flying around because there's like a dash mechanic in it too, which is really cool when you start learning how to do that. Like you can actually fly and hover, and you can dash. And you can, it's a little different too. Like when you aim your gun, when you're using the control, you aim your gun, and if you don't actually steady your gun, it doesn't auto center again. So meaning you got to constantly, like if you're shooting up, you got to center it back down and then go back up if you're going to try and shoot stuff. So that one's a little different to get used to it. But once you start getting used to that, you'll find you will really like this game. This game is a lot of fun. The level design is fun. There's not a whole huge variety of the basic armored units. Like you'll see some repetitive with some different color schemes, but the game itself is really fun, especially if you like that style. I mean, Wolf, I know, likes the side scroll. Actually, most of us here like the side scroller shooters. If you like Metal Slug, that style of game as well, it is very, very similar, and I think you would enjoy it. And Konami, can't go wrong with Konami, right?
Oh my God. And it's got
So-
Armored Core elements too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you said Metal Slug meets Armored Core smashed together.
Yeah, so because for instance, the reason why he's saying kind of Armored Core, because it has a dash mechanic and it also has a shield. So you have some defense in this, right? Metal Slug, your defense is just don't get shot, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
this one, you got a different mechanic. You can weapon swaps. You got different weapons. You got a shield. You got a dash mechanic. You have the ability to kind of fly on it. Side scroller. It's a cool game. It is really cool, and it's again a hidden gem because most people haven't played it. But I got a feeling if you like those type of games and you played it, you would like it.
Oh,
So I
definitely.
want to say, because it is Konami, it came out in the US in '93. I actually want to say that Metal Warriors is kind of a spiritual sequel to
Yeah.
Cybernator. And they play very similarly. It's only that the Metal Warriors got a little bit faster than Cybernator is, and it's got some added features and whatnot. But they're both great games. I love Cybernator. It's an awesome mech.
Yeah,
shooter.
great pick.
Yeah.
Awesome pick.
Yeah, and Dan, one really cool thing about Cybernator, like some of these hidden gems, they're like a little bit knockoffs of the popular games, like Super Turrican, right? Like it's like Contra, right?
Yeah.
This game has a really cool thing that not a lot of other Super Nintendo games have, and that's like collateral damage. Like when you're shooting like the walls, they'll chip apart and break apart. How cool is that? Like when you're shooting these heavy rockets and you have these big mechs, it looks like you're damaging the place, and it looks like there's a war zone. I think that's a standout thing in that game. And yes, it is like Metal Slug and Dolphins Blue. However, I feel like there's a lot of verticality in this game as well. Like if you remember that first boss, it's like a rocket launching up into the sky.
Yep.
And first time I ever played that, I just sat at the bottom, taking out those little guns coming down.
Yep.
I'm like, oh yeah, I got this.
The
I got
guns.
this.
And then it just starts moving. It's like, no,
Yeah,
you got.
he's like,
Oh shoot! I took out the
"Hey."
guns. Yeah, you're trying to follow up. You're shooting the thing, and then more guns come down. You're like, oh frick! Now I got to dodge more guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just a standard clone or copy of a game. It brought its own ideas, and it was pretty cool. I thought definitely a great pick.
Yeah, it's fun. That's a good one. Yep, I dig it. So that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. That's a good, I think, start for a supplemental hidden gems episode for the Super Nintendo. I want to say again, thanks to everybody. Your suggestions have been fantastic. The list is long and it is hard. That's what Wolf said. and we are going to just move our way through this. If we have another couple of supplemental episodes, I know you guys still want some more for Super Nintendo, but we can always do some more of these types of things for things that we've already, you know, visited to. Like I know PlayStation 1 has a lot of hidden gems.
Yes.
You know,
Oh yes.
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
Right,
Wolf,
right, yeah.
Wolf is really excited to do a N64 hidden gems episode. So there are all these types of things that we have coming that we're working in the background, and we're going to keep trying to bring this stuff to you. We've been kind of going hot and heavy for a couple of weeks now, so who knows? We might end up making this a little bit more often, like we've been doing, or we might take a break. Who knows? You know how we work. So, anyways, again, thanks to my co-pilot Wolfman, Wales, Problem Solved with Eric, and Endgame Arcade. I really appreciate you guys being here and sharing this fun adventure with me. And does anybody else have anything they want to say before we peace out?
Yeah, one more thing. I was actually taking a couple more sips of my beer, and I had an epiphany. I think it would also be fun, and it doesn't have to be Super Nintendo. It could be another episode. You know, at one point I talked about how I bought the Pac-Man for Atari 2600, and it's the first time I cursed in front of my dad. I said the F-bomb, and I got, man, did I get in trouble that day because it was just so bad. I think we should do an episode of like our top games that we bought sight unseen, took it home, and was like, I can't believe I wasted my money on this, you know, and you try to find the receipt and package it up real quick because you know you made a mistake. It's like that feeling when you touch your pocket and you don't feel your wallet, it's missing. That
Right.
type of feeling. You get that same feeling when you buy a game and it sucks and you spend all of your parents' hard-earned money or yours. I think it would be a fun episode to do.
I don't want to talk about Ninja Combat again.
Yeah.
So bad. Ah.
Yeah,
Gosh.
Ninja Turtles is just
You know what? All of
bad.
us are doing. Look at all of us are looking the same way, like Nom flashbacks
Yeah.
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 in the background.
Charlie's in the trees.
Yep. Ooh, what
There's
you
bats in the
say?
sewers and the Ninja Turtles. Why?
Ooh,
Why?
what you say?
I know.
Oh my gosh. But anyways, hey, thanks again, guys. Hey, make sure you go and check out Problem Solved with Eric. Give him a like and a subscribe on his videos. He's great. He comes out with all kinds of fun stuff, product reviews. A little bit weird with keyboards, but we love him for that. We got Endgame and all the crazy stuff that he puts out too. Great production value that he has in his stuff. Big supporter of the channel. As such, we are big supporters of him. He is fantastic. Make sure you go and give him a like and a subscribe as well. And until later, you guys, unless anybody has anything else to say.
Yeah, don't forget yourself, punk.
Oh,
Don't forget to check out Dantron69K. Matter of fact, he just put out a YouTube short, I believe, on taking apart a
Very
Super
informative.
Nintendo and cleaning it.
Very informative.
Yeah,
That's
very
not
cool
a short.
that was a short.
Your Super Nintendo cleaning was not a short.
No, I put
No. He put a new one out.
I opened up a bunch of cartridges and I showed the
3
difference.
cartridges.
I saw that one,
Yeah.
but but Wolf just said he put out a short about Super Nintendo cleaning.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I meant the
Cartridges.
how to
Yeah.
tell apart, you
Yeah.
know, from
Yes,
a repro.
Yeah, no, that was a great short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
if
loved it.
If you guys like this kind of stuff, give me a like and a subscribe. If you don't like it, give me a like and a... No, I'm just kidding. Just if you feel like it, it's great. I'm going to keep doing the fun stuff, but it'll just give you notifications on when I do other weird stuff. So
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate that, Wolf, and I appreciate everybody else that's here. And until the next episode, later.
Yeah,
Peace.
Peace.